Oh, you thought Blueface's family drama had finally taken a vacation? Think again, because Karlissa just dropped a nuclear bomb on social media that makes the Kardashians look like a church choir. She's claiming that CPS, yes, Child Protective Services, just rolled up to her house like it was an episode of Law & Order Blueface Unit. And apparently, it all traces back to Blueface's wild, unpredictable, and downright headline-hungry behavior. Karlissa says the feds didn't just check in, they investigated. And she's not whispering about it, she's broadcasting it, like she's hosting a live TMZ special from her living room. Imagine getting a visit from CPS while your son is trending for everything except music. That's the kind of chaos even Zeus Network couldn't script. But here's where it gets insane. Karlissa is pointing fingers, spilling tea, and practically setting her own house on fire with accusations that Blueface's antics are dragging her family into government-level trouble. CPS at her door? That's not just drama. That's a full-blown Netflix series waiting for the trailer drop. And trust me, what she said next has everybody clutching their phones like it's breaking news from another dimension. Let's rewind this messy movie, because the plot starts way before CPS ever showed up at Karlissa's door. This drama's been brewing for months, maybe years, like a pot of overcooked tea on a gas stove nobody turned off. Every time Blueface sneezes on the internet, it's like a family earthquake, and Karlissa, she's the epicenter. The woman doesn't just post, she detonates. Now, according to her latest social media meltdown, live revelation, CPS didn't just stumble into her life. They were summoned by chaos itself. She claims they arrived unannounced, knocking on her door like, "Ma'am, are you related to the viral disaster known as Blueface?" And in true Karlissa fashion, she didn't answer quietly. She went live. Because in 2025, if it's not streamed, did it even happen? She says they were there to check the welfare of the grandkids, but her tone made it sound more like an FBI investigation into family insanity. The way she described it, the agents came in like they were doing a full-scale raid. Flashlights and all, asking questions about Blueface's lifestyle, the fights, the women, the kids, the house, and even his influence on her family's sanity. And Karlissa, never one to stay humble, told them straight up, "My son's not the problem, he's the tornado. The rest of us are just flying debris." That's right, she turned a CPS visit into a punchline. But behind the jokes, you could hear the exhaustion, the kind of tired that comes from living your life one viral moment away from a breakdown. Let's not forget, Blueface isn't exactly the poster child for calm parenting. One day he's on live throwing money at women like he's allergic to savings accounts. The next he's arguing with Christian Rock about who's responsible for what child. And then bam, he's in the studio pretending everything's fine. Except, clearly, everything's not fine. Because Karlissa's house just got an official government cameo, and she didn't stop there. She hinted that Blueface's behavior has spiraled so badly that it's now reflecting on her. Imagine that your grown son's chaos getting you on a CPS checklist. That's generational drama turned into a federal field trip. The wildest part? She said she wasn't even shocked. She literally told her followers, "I've been expecting it." Girl, what? Most people panic when CPS comes to their door, but Karlissa acted like she'd been prepping for the photo op. That's when you know this family has reached reality TV enlightenment. But this isn't the first time her house became ground zero for a public meltdown. We've seen Karlissa on live feuding with everyone from Blueface to Christian to the random fans in her comments. She's the type to argue with an air molecule if it looks at her wrong. So when she said CPS showed up uninvited, people were like, are we sure they weren't just tired of watching her Instagram lives? Still, the visit seemed to shake her a little. She started saying that Blueface's energy is toxic, but his constant fights, arrests, and public humiliation have turned into a spiritual curse on the family. She blamed his behavior for dragging everyone's name through the mud, and by everyone, she means her. Because let's be honest, Karlissa doesn't mind chaos, but she hates not being in control of it, and this whole thing apparently started after Blueface's latest social media meltdown, something about him fighting online again, dissing Christian, throwing shade at Jaden, and exposing personal stuff about his kids. The timeline was a blur of confusion, drama, and heartbreak emojis. By the time CPS heard about it, they probably had to draw a family tree just to figure out who's feuding with who. Karlissa says the agents asked her questions like, do the kids spend time around Blueface? Is the environment stable? Have there been any violent outbursts? She claimed she told them the truth. He's not violent. He's just passionate. Which, let's be honest, sounds like something every mom of a rapper says right before another scandal drops. But the more she talked, the more you could feel she was flipping the narrative, painting herself as the misunderstood matriarch in a family saga that spiraled into madness. She said she's the one holding it all together while everyone else acts like they're auditioning for Love and Hip Hop. The apocalypse. She described herself as the only sane one left, but then followed that up by yelling at the screen about how Blueface doesn't call her enough. So yeah, sanity is relative. Now let's talk reactions. Fans flooded her comments instantly. Some were defending her, she's a mom protecting her family. Others were straight roasting her. CPS came to check on the kids but ended up checking on Karlissa's Wi-Fi connection. It became a digital war zone in the comments section. Then you had the Christian fans. Oh, they showed up ready for blood. They started saying things like, maybe if you stopped meddling in your son's relationships, CPS wouldn't even know your address. Savage, but not entirely wrong. Karlissa's always in the middle of Blueface's drama, inserting herself like she's the family's. Publicist and therapist rolled into one, but the real kicker came when Karlissa said she knows exactly who called CPS. She didn't drop names, but if you've ever seen one of her lives, you know she loves dropping hints. She said it was someone close to the situation, someone jealous, someone trying to destroy the family from the inside. Oh, the suspense. Twitter instantly went full FBI mode, connecting dots between Christian, Jaden, and even Blueface's entourage, and that's when the memes started flying. One user tweeted, Karlissa acting like CPS just discovered America. Another said, if chaos was a family reunion, the Harrisons would host it on live every Friday. It was brutal, hilarious, and undeniably viral. Karlissa's clip hit every gossip page within hours. The Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked, No Jumper, you name it. Suddenly everyone was dissecting her tone, her outfit, her background decor, and trying to guess what the CPS officer looked like. Because that's how online culture works now. You can't just have a private incident, it has to become a public spectacle. And while Karlissa was talking about family trauma, everyone else was treating it like a binge-worthy series. Fans even joked, we need a Karlissa cam 24/7. Forget Zeus, put her on Netflix. But underneath the jokes, there's something serious. CPS doesn't just pop up for clout. That means somebody made a complaint that had enough credibility to trigger an investigation. Whether it's real concern or petty revenge, it's a big deal, and that's what's got everyone rattled. Because if Karlissa's house is being visited by CPS, that means the Blueface Christian saga just crossed the line from entertaining chaos to legal concern. So here we are, watching another chapter of this family's never-ending drama unfold like a reality show you can't stop watching, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. Karlissa's at the center, CPS in her driveway, and Blueface somewhere tweeting cryptic emojis like none of this exists. But trust me, this is just the beginning. Because when Karlissa starts a story, it never ends quietly, it ends with a bang. A rant and 1,000 comment threads wondering if this family even knows what peace feels like, and just when you thought the circus had packed up and left town, no, Karlissa decided to feed it peanuts and let it run wild. Because the moment that CPS revelation hit the internet, the story mutated faster than a Blueface tweet. Every blog, meme page, and YouTube commentator turned it into their Super Bowl. Hollywood Unlocked dropped a headline. Karlissa claims CPS visited her home, says, Blueface's drama brought trouble. The Shade Room followed with a shady caption like, we hope everything's okay at Mama's house. And Twitter? That place caught fire. One tweet read, CPS went to Karlissa's house? At this point, even the alphabet agencies are fans of the show. Within hours, Karlissa was trending again. Not for cooking, not for philanthropy, not for anything peaceful, nope. She was trending for chaos. And she loved it. She started going live multiple times a day, clarifying, re-explaining, contradicting herself, and somehow making it worse every single time. It was like watching someone pour gasoline on a rumor just to see how pretty it burns. In one of her live streams, she claimed Blueface attracted this energy. She said, You can't play in the devil's playground and not expect demons to babysit your kids. That line alone broke the internet. Memes exploded. One user edited her face onto a preacher's body holding a Bible labeled the Book of Blueface. Another captioned a photo of her yelling with, "When CPS asks if your son's behavior is normal." And then you guessed it, other celebrities chimed in. First up, Charleston White, because of course. He went live dragging both of them, saying, "Karlissa needs CPS to check her too. That whole house unstable. I ain't never seen a mama fight for attention from her own son's scandal." The comment section turned into a royal rumble. Half agreed, half defended her. Even Christine Rock, who's basically allergic to silence, hopped in the mix with a cryptic Instagram story, a blurry selfie with the caption, "Ain't no peace when you lie in my name. God know the truth." Fans immediately connected the dots. The rumor mill spun faster than a DJ at Diddy's party. Everyone started speculating that she might have been the one who called CPS. Karlissa, of course, didn't help the situation. She posted, "Somebody with blue hair called them folks." And suddenly the internet screamed, "Christine." She never confirmed it, but come on, subtlety has never been her strength. Meanwhile, Blueface? Man was quiet. Like suspiciously quiet. No tweets, no IG stories, no petty shade. And that silence made it worse. Because when a professional troll goes silent, everyone assumes it's guilt or damage control. Fans flooded his old posts with comments like, "You sent CPS to your mama house?" And "Protect Grandma Karlissa." And in true internet fashion, half the people were mocking, half were psychoanalyzing. You had YouTubers doing hour-long breakdowns titled, "Karlissa vs. Blueface, the CPS Files." TikTokers reenacted the alleged visit like it was a skit on SNL, dressed as Karlissa. One as a CPS agent, one pretending to be Christine yelling from a distance. Millions of views. This wasn't just gossip anymore, it was pop culture theater. But underneath all the jokes, something darker was brewing. Karlissa began hinting that CPS might come back. She said, "They told me they'll be checking up again soon." And that sent her followers spiraling. People started worrying that the kids might be caught in the crossfire of all this drama, and that's when the narrative flipped. Suddenly, public sympathy wasn't just for Karlissa, it was for the children. Commenters began saying, "Enough is enough. These kids need peace." Even fans who usually treat Blueface drama like a spectator sport were saying, "This stopped being funny." But Karlissa, being Karlissa, didn't back down. Oh no, she doubled down. She went live again and said, "If CPS want to check somebody, check that boy's mansion. That's where the real madness is." She accused Blueface of having unholy company around his kids, referencing the parties, the live streams, and the endless chaos he proudly broadcasts. She wasn't done. She turned it into a moral sermon. "I raised a superstar," she said, "but the devil raised his ego." That line went viral instantly. People started quoting it like scripture. You had TikToks titled, "The Devil Raised His Ego," Karlissa 316. Every time Karlissa speaks, the internet gets a new religion, and it's not just fans, industry folks started paying attention again. Some insiders began whispering that producers from Zeus Network reached out, curious if Karlissa would consider her own spin-off show. Can you imagine? Mama Madness, the Karlissa Chronicles. She'd probably signed the contract before the ink dried. Meanwhile, gossip pages started dropping inside info, saying Blueface's team was worried about her statements. Apparently, every time Karlissa goes live, their phones blow up. Because when she talks, headlines multiply like roaches after midnight. Then came the biggest twist. Karlissa claimed Blueface called her, angry about the CPS post. She said, "He told me to stop bringing heat on the family. I told him, boy, you are the heat." She laughed mid-live like it was a comedy special, but her tone? Oh, it dripped with resentment. You could tell this was decades of family tension boiling over in real time. By this point, the situation was beyond control. Blueface's fanbase split into factions: Team Blue, Team Karlissa, and the confused middle, just watching like, who needs Netflix when real life is this messy? And as if that wasn't enough, a few anonymous insiders started deeming blogs, claiming the CPS visit wasn't even about Karlissa's house, it was about a tip linking back to Blueface's property. The internet couldn't handle it. Everyone had theories. Was it Christine's past drama? Was it one of Blue's girlfriends? Was it about the kids? No one knew, but everyone had an opinion, and Karlissa once again didn't clarify. She leaned into the confusion. "Let him talk," she said. "The truth don't need defending." Which, ironically, is what people say right before defending themselves for 3 hours straight on live. Her energy was unshakable. The more people criticized her, the louder she got. She said, "I'm not crazy, I'm connected. The universe is exposing my enemies one CPS visit at a time." At that point, even her fans didn't know whether to laugh, pray, or refresh the page for part 2. By now, her comments were filled with every reaction possible. "Girl, you need a PR team. Not the universe using CPS." Blueface family drama got more plot twists than Game of Thrones. She had officially turned the government visit into a trending topic, and that's the most Karlissa thing imaginable. But as wild as it got, there was a real tension underneath. Because when the government steps into family drama, it's no longer just entertainment, it's real. And if CPS came once, they can come again. That's the fear she couldn't joke away. Still, Karlissa being Karlissa, she spun it as destiny. "They came to my house," she said, "because God wanted to humble me and expose the snakes around me." That single statement reignited the internet. Who were the snakes? Fans started guessing again. The drama had officially gone full circle, and Karlissa was right back where she loves to be, the eye of her own storm. And just when you think the internet had moved on, she hinted there's more to come. Because of course there is. With this family, there's always a sequel. The morning after the CPS bombshell, Karlissa woke up trending again, not for something new, but because everyone was still talking about her. The memes were multiplying, the think pieces were dropping, and YouTubers were dissecting her every word like it was a national security leak. But Karlissa? She was sipping her coffee like a queen, watching her empire of chaos burn beautifully in the background. She went live again, of course, but this time, her tone was different. Less angry, more "I told y'all so." She started by saying, "They thought I was lying. Now look, everybody want to play judge, jury, and therapist." Then she smirked like a woman who just started a fire and threw away the extinguisher. The live began calm. But calm never lasts long in the Karlissa cinematic universe. Within minutes, she was back to calling out names, or at least giving heavy hints. "Some people love when your name in the mud, 'cause it make 'em feel taller," she said. "But baby, mud wash off. Guilt don't." Fans were eating it up, typing comments like, "Karlissa preaching again. And here comes the Sunday sermon." Then she started addressing Blueface directly, not on the phone, not in private, but right there in front of thousands of viewers. "I love you, son," she said, her voice trembling just enough to sound real. "But you're the reason these people at my door. You brought cameras into our pain and now wonder why they won't leave." That hit hard. The live chat exploded with heart emojis, broken hearts, fire emojis, chaos, basically. For once, people were actually sympathizing with her. Some even said, she just wants peace. But knowing Karlissa, peace is the one thing she doesn't know how to sit with. Because 5 minutes later, she was right back to calling out Christiane. She accused her of playing the victim while ruining families. Then she said something that froze the chat. I wouldn't be surprised if she called CPS herself. "She's been trying to make me look unfit since day one." Boom, explosion number 12 of the week. The internet went feral. TikTok detectives started analyzing Christiane's old lives, checking timestamps, cross-referencing posts, and making timelines like it was the JFK investigation. Everyone was searching for proof that Christiane was behind the call. Of course, no one found anything concrete, but who needs evidence when you have drama? Meanwhile, Blueface's silence continued to speak volumes. People started speculating that maybe CPS had reached out to him too. Others said he was intentionally distancing himself, trying to rebrand after the avalanche of bad press. But let's be honest, this man can't go a month without making headlines. Silence from Blueface is like calm before a hurricane. It just means the next explosion's loading. Back at Karlissa's digital pulpit, she was now reframing the entire event as a wake-up call. She said, maybe God sent CPS to make us stop acting like fools. Maybe it was divine intervention. That might have been the most ironic thing she's ever said, because 2 minutes later, She was shading Blueface again for hanging with women who couldn't spell responsibility if you tattooed it on their forehead. At this point, every word she said was a quotable. The blogs were reposting every sentence. God sent CPS, but devil raised his ego. Blueface is the tornado. I'm the debris. She'd accidentally become a viral philosopher of dysfunction. But behind the viral clips, you could tell she was unraveling. She kept repeating that her family is cursed, that every generation's repeating the same mistakes. And for a split second, the live got quiet, that eerie kind of silence that tells you the truth just slipped out. You could see the exhaustion behind the filters and the glitter. A woman tired of performing but addicted to the applause. Then came the aftermath. And it wasn't pretty. TMZ ran a follow-up piece titled "Karlissa's CPS Confession Sparks Online War Between Fans." The Shade Room posted her live, captioning it with, "Karlissa says CPS was God's way of cleaning house." Every comment section was chaos, half laughing, half praying for the family. Blueface eventually broke his silence. He didn't post a statement. He didn't go live. He just tweeted, "I can't save people who don't want to be saved. Family or not." That single line detonated across the internet. Everyone knew it was aimed at Karlissa. She responded almost immediately with, "You can't save people when you're the reason they're drowning." And there it was, mother versus son, live on the world stage again. You'd think that'd be the end of it. But nope, Karlissa took it even further. She said she's thinking of writing a book, a tell-all called "Raising Chaos: The Truth Behind Blueface." She even teased the first chapter title, "When CPS Comes for Clout." Fans lost their minds. Some called her a genius. Others said she'd officially lost it. But Karlissa doesn't care about public opinion. She feeds on it. By now, her reputation had split clean in half. To some, she was the brutally honest mother who refuses to let fame silence her. To others, she was the drama addict who keeps throwing gasoline on a family already on fire. And honestly, both can be true, but here's where it got unexpectedly emotional. Toward the end of her last live, she admitted something raw. "I miss my son," she said quietly. "Before all the fame, before the girls, before the internet, he was just my baby. Now he's headlines." That line hit different. The chat slowed down. Even the trolls paused for a second. Because under all the noise, that was the real tragedy, a mother and son who can't find peace because the cameras won't let them. Then, as if to snap herself out of the vulnerability, she ended with a smirk and said, "Anyway, I'll see y'all on live tomorrow. The truth don't sleep." And just like that, she logged off, leaving her followers hungry for the next episode. That's Karlissa in a nutshell. She can turn pain into performance, heartbreak into headlines, and a CPS visit into a cultural event. Love her or hate her, she's mastered the art of keeping her name in your mouth, even when you swear you're done watching. And somewhere out there, Blueface is probably shaking his head, wondering how his mom turned a government investigation into a social media empire. But deep down he knows the drama didn't start with him. It runs in the bloodline. So as the dust settles, for now, one thing's clear: the Harris family doesn't just attract chaos, they create it. And Karlissa? She's the director, producer, and star of her own reality show that doesn't need cameras, just Wi-Fi. But remember, when she says, "This ain't over," she means it. Because with this family, it never is. The CPS visit may have ended, but the saga? It's just getting started. And there you have it, another episode in the never-ending Karlissa Chronicles. The woman turned a CPS visit into a viral sermon, a public investigation into a punchline, and her own son's chaos into a masterclass in going viral without even trying. Somewhere out there, Netflix executives are taking notes like, "We can't write this fast enough." But let's be real, in the Blueface cinematic universe, peace is just the season finale before another explosion. So if you think this story's over, you must be new here. Because Karlissa's phone is never on silent, her WIF's always ready, and her mouth? Certified headline generator. So while the rest of us are catching our breath, she's probably loading another live right now, ready to expose, clap back, or drop another divine revelation like, "God told me to block Chrisian." And you know we'll be here to cover every second of it. Now do me a favor, smash the like button, like it owes you child support. Drop a comment with your wildest theory about who really called CPS. Was it Christian? Blueface? Zeus Network? Or the ghost of reality TV itself? I'm watching those comments like Karlissa watches her son's lives. Religiously hit subscribe before the next scandal breaks. Because when it does, we'll be here first with the tea, the receipts, and the chaos trend tattle style. This channel doesn't sleep because celebrity drama doesn't either. So stay locked in. Stay entertained, and remember, in Hollywood's wildest families, truth is optional but the drama is guaranteed. This is Trend Tattle, where every scandal sounds like a sermon and every headline feels like a hurricane. Now go hydrate because the next mess is already brewing.